Raymond Moody, a well-known psychologist and researcher of out-of-body experience, has been collecting stories of people who have experienced clinical death for many years. He came to the conclusion that their stories have much in common with the descriptions in the so-called Tibetan Book of the Dead. But first, to words about this unique work. It should be noted that this name is purely conditional. In the original, the book is called Bardo Tedal. Bardo means intermediate state. The gap Bardo should be understood as the state between death and rebirth. Tedal consists of two words Thomas Grohl, which mean that the teaching of this book liberates the spirit through or understanding. According to legend, the Bardo Tedal was written by the great teacher Padmasambhava in the 8th century. According to legend, he hid the book until better times, and in the 14th century it was found by the famous book treasure hunter Karmalimpa. In Tibet, reading this book was a mandatory part of the funeral ceremony. The book was read to the dying man to prepare his mind for the transition, and it was also read to others to help them accept this event, not to delay the person leaving with their tears and emotions. A person should leave in the right spiritual state, freed from earthly hardships. Raymond Moody argued that the stories of people who experienced clinical death were strikingly reminiscent of the stages of transition described by ancient Tibetans, and this despite the fact that the patients were completely far from any esotericism and hardly read this book. The first stage. The soul sinks into oblivion and hangs in the void. A person can hear disturbing sounds similar to the wind, see a grey haze around them. Through the haze, he sees his relatives sobbing over his body, but when he tries to talk to them, no one hears him. He is confused and wondering where to go and what to do. The book says that when the stream of consciousness leaves the body, it asks itself, "Am I alive or dead?" and can't answer. He sees his family and friends as he saw them before, and hears them crying. The creepy karmic visions have not appeared yet. The terrible experiences associated with the deities of death also did not occur. The second stage. A person notices that he has another, shining body, and it is endowed with the ability to rise high above the ground and pass through walls. There are no distances and barriers for him. He can meet other beings in the same state, the souls of people who left the earthly veil before him. The third stage. He sees a pure and clear light, from which comes unconditional love and acceptance. O nobly born one, at the moment when your consciousness separated from your body, you should have seen the radiance of pure truth, elusive, sparkling, bright, dazzling, wonderful, majestic, radiant, like a mirage that permeates the spring landscape in a continuous pulsating stream. Do not be afraid of him. Do not be afraid. Do not be horrified. This is the radiance of your true essence. Get to know him. The fourth stage. The book mentions something like a mirror, which reflects the whole life of a person, his bad and good deeds. There can be no tricks here. It is impossible to lie about your life. Comparing the stories of the people he interviewed and the Bardo Tedal data, Moody came to a conclusion. Although the Tibetan Book of the Dead includes many later stages of death that my compatriots living in the 20th century did not tell me about, there is a lot in common between their reports and this ancient manuscript. There is another important point here. Bardo Tedal describes the stages of transformation of the soul within 49 days after leaving its mortal shell. Therefore, patients who have experienced only clinical death cannot confirm its correctness, of course, since they are brought back to life much faster. But the coincidences of the initial stages are striking. In conclusion, there is an excerpt from the book. Part 2. The Bardo of Comprehension of Reality. Introductory instructions on experiencing reality during the third level of the Bardo Chenyad Bardo, when karmic visions appear. At this third level of the Bardo, the radiance of karmic illusions arises. It is very important to read this great instruction about meeting face to face in the Chenyad Bardo. It has tremendous power and can bring a lot of benefits. Around this time, the deceased may see that part of the food is being put aside for him, that his body is being freed from his clothes, that the place where his sleeping mat lay is being swept. He can hear the crying and lamentation of his friends and relatives, and although he can see them and hear them calling him, they do not hear him calling them, and therefore he leaves dissatisfied. At this time, he hears sounds, sees light and rays all at once. They inspire awe, fear and horror and cause him great fatigue. At this point, you should apply this instruction about meeting face to face with the Bardo during the experience of reality. Call the deceased by name and explain the following to him correctly and clearly. O noble one, listen with all your attention, and do not be distracted. There are 6 states of the Bardo, namely, the natural state of the Bardo during the stay in the womb, the Bardo of the dream state, the Bardo of ecstatic balance of deep meditation, the Bardo of the moment of death, the Bardo of experiencing reality, the Bardo of the reverse process of samsaric existence. These are the 6 states. O noble one, you are destined to experience three bardos, the bardo of the moment of death, the bardo of experiencing reality, and the bardo of seeking a new birth. Of these three states, until yesterday, you experienced the bardo of the moment of death. Although the clear light of reality shone before you, you could not resist, and therefore you are forced to wander here. From now on, you are destined to experience the other two states, Chenyad Bardo and Sidpa Bardo. You will, without distraction, listen to someone who will help you face reality, and you will continue on your way. O noble one, that which is called death has already come. You're leaving this world, but you're not the only one. Death comes to everyone. Don't cling, out of affection and weakness, to this life. Let weakness make you cling to it. You can't stay here. You will achieve nothing. You will only wander through samsara. Don't cling to this world. Don't be weak. Remember the precious three bodies. O noble one, whatever fear and horror you may see in the Chenyad Bardo, do not forget these words, and keeping their meaning in your heart, go ahead. They contain the most important secret of knowledge. Alas, now that I'm experiencing the uncertainty of reality, putting aside all thoughts of fear, horror, or of all ghostly visions, may I recognize in any visions, whatever they may appear to me, the reflections of my own consciousness. Let me understand that they are only visions of the bardo, and at this crucial moment, when it is possible to achieve a great goal, may I not be afraid of the detachments of peaceful and angry deities, my own thought forms. Repeat these verses clearly and without forgetting their meaning. Go ahead, O noble one. Then, no matter what terrifying or inspiring visions arise in front of you, you will definitely recognize them as reflections of your own consciousness. And do not forget the most important secret that is contained in these words. O noble one, when your body and mind parted, you must have experienced a glimpse of pure truth, subtle, sparkling, bright, dazzling, resplendent, emitting extraordinary radiance, like a mirage that flows in spring in a single shimmering stream. Do not be afraid, terrified, or in awe of him. It is the radiance of your own true self. Get to know her. From the middle of this radiance, a natural sound of reality will arise, rumbling like 1,000 thunders that thundered at one moment. It's the natural sound of your own true self. Do not be afraid, terrified, or in awe of him. The body you currently possess is called the mindset of inclinations. Since you do not have a material body of flesh and blood, nothing, no sounds, no lights, no rays, can harm you. You can't die. You just need to understand that these visions are your own thought forms. Recognize the bardo in all this. O noble one, if you do not recognize your own thought forms now, no matter what meditation practices you have practiced in the human world, no matter how devout you were before, if you do not follow this teaching, then the lights will frighten you, the sounds will make you tremble, and the rays will terrify. If you do not know this most important key to the teachings, you will not be able to recognize the sounds, lights and rays, and you will have to wander in samsara.